another, not another. I'm coming to you with another dating drama from TikTok. Let's see exactly what we got here. Doesn't look good, but we're about to see. I'm using a new platform to stream on. So let's see. I'm not in the frame. I can see that. There we go. I'm going to go check it out right now. My phone died. Let's see what we got. I want to make sure it looks good to y'all because I don't know. My page. Let me see. Turn. Let me connect to the net. Hold on, everybody. I might hop off of here and go directly to. Oh, here we go. Oh, I like it. I kind of like it. So I'm using Riverside today. This is my TikTok page. So please go ahead and like my TikTok. The only thing is the lens is dark. And that's because for some reason it changed the ISO. So I'm playing with the ISO now. Sorry, guys. It's way too bright. Jesus. I actually love that. Where's that? Okay. I actually love that, but let's see what else we can do. No, that was perfect. Okay, y'all tell me how that looks. I think it looks. Ooh. Let me stop sharing the screen. And see what happens. I wasn't ready. I probably shouldn't even be online right now. Hey, everybody. Hey, y'all. I'm actually kind of obsessed with what I'm seeing. But let's see. This would be great. If I could have this set up all the time, I would be very happy. Okay, guys. Another TikTok horror story from the dating streets. I'm sorry, y'all. We getting it together. I still think the ISO is a little high. I'm just waiting for it all to catch up. I like the darker ISO, but let's go back up. Okay, we're gonna stay here. All right, I'm so excited. Give me 1 second. I'm still playing around with new software. I should not be. I should have been completely ready when I hopped in here with y'all, but we're doing, we're having fun. So nobody worry. We're just having fun. Let's run the intro to give me just a little second to play around with what I got going on here. So let's play it. How do you play it? Okay, here we go. Ready? Get patting you on the back. All the rappers. Hey, what's up? Back again. Hey, what's up? It's up to you to do the research. It's up to you. This is so cool. Y'all are learning this. I want to talk about a TikTok dating horror story, so let's get into it. Y'all know I love these, so we can break them down. We can break them down later. Let's get into the mess, child. Let's get into the mess. We'll refresh the screen for my TikTok. We gotta raise the mic because I keep hitting it. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, you ready?
dating dating in LA story time. So hold on, let me put some earrings on my grandma because I agreed to go on a date with this guy. I went to this art show opening and this guy was like super nervous to talk to me. I thought he was cute. He had glasses and locks, and I'm like, oh, he's cute. Like trying to like start a conversation, but he was like really bad at it. And he had a homeboy that was like his wingman. And it was like, okay, I'll go out with him because he's like a cute nerd and he likes art and, whatever. Exchange numbers. I agreed to go out on a date. He said he wanted to take me to get some Ethiopian food because he had never had Ethiopian food before. He wanted to try some. And it was not far from the other art show he wanted to take me to. One of his friends is an artist and he was having like this really major art show in the Fairfax district. And I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. Like that sounds dope. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take an Uber or a Lyft to the spot, to the Ethiopian place. We'll meet at the Ethiopian place and then we'll go. If I feel safe, which I assumed that I would, if I feel safe, then, I will get in the car with you and we'll go to the art show after. Cool. So I show up. I have my little outfit that I put together and I thought I was really cute. And yeah, I get there first. It's a little chilly because the sun is starting to set. So I have a coat like draped. Hold on, let me show you the picture. Okay, it won't let me do green screen after I've already started recording. So I'm going to just put the picture in. I'm going to put it. So
Fire. She looks incredibly good, y'all. Do you see how this woman looks? She looks incredibly amazing. I'm obsessed with her outfit, how she looks, everything. She put it together. It's an absolute 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. She has on a green jumpsuit, her brown trench, her hair is perfection. She's a gorgeous woman. We can see that from the start of the video. So let's see how bad this fumble actually is. Okay. So let's keep going. Look at that first comment. They listen to men on the pods and they get nowhere in real life. Don't we all know it?
that's what I have on. Parking, and I see him walking up the street with a 7-Eleven bag, and there's a 7-Eleven across the street. So that means, he's late because he went in.
Let me tell you something. I want to focus on this comment that says, um, I want to focus on this comment about the podcast. I was talking to a guy just the other day. I may have told this story on another video, or maybe I was talking to a homegirl of mine. I was talking to a man who was almost 60 years old. I think I told this on my last video because this story is haunting me. This story is haunting me. Yes, because this man was 58 years old, 60. This man was 60 years old, and he was saying how in dating, he's single, he's looking for a partner. And he was like, I just realized now that I'm back on the dating market that men have to be so accepting of things. And I'm thinking, you're a mature man. I understand. Of course, yes. You're 20 years my senior. People have health and medical ailments. They have busy work schedules. They might be still working, and maybe you're leaning towards retirement. They may have older children that need help or still live in the home. They may have commitments with grandchildren at this age, whatever. I'm thinking this is about to be a highbrow type of conversation. Do you know what this man told me he was talking about? Men have to be accepting of weave lashes and fake eye contacts. Excuse me? This is the type of material in the dating pool. I know not only women watch me and listen to me, but ladies, listen, plan ahead. Wherever your life is supposed to go, stay on that path. Stay on that path. Plan ahead. Plan ahead to retire in the motherland. There are no Prince Charmings dropping out of the sky because from 18 to 80, they toe up. I got to get that clip of Lil Boosie talking about they toe up school from 18 to 80. Ladies, go your own path. Go your own path. This man was 58, and I only talk to somebody of that age because I'm thinking there is going to be a level of maturity there. There is not. There absolutely is not. All right, let's keep going, child, because I want to hear the rest of her dating horror story. Please let me hear the rest.
Into 7-Eleven, not because he was like parking or whatever. I don't know why he didn't just say that, especially if he was going to still have the bag in his hand. Anyway, I'm like, hey, what's in the bag? And he was like, oh, I just wanted to get some chapstick and some gum and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's smart. We're gonna have, very spicy food. We probably should have gum for later. So I go to hug him, like, hi, like, like a nice, this is our first, we met in person, but like this is our first meeting solo, on a date. And he pulls away after the hug and he was like, look at you. You look like the king of Zamunda. I said, excuse me? And he said, you look like the king of Zamunda, like, the king with the lion. And I said, why? But why would you say that? And he was like, oh, you look like the king of Zamunda. So in that moment, especially after he doubled down 3 times, I had decided in my mind that I was really hungry and I had just spent 55 minutes in.
Are we not supposed to? These are black art shows. This is a brother, I'm assuming, because yes, it is. As a matter of fact, she mentioned he has locks. This is a black man calling a black woman with natural hair the king of Zamunda. So, although you have locks, she has her natural hair out. You make an idiotic reference to an 80s stereotypical African booty scratcher kind of movie. Like, for lack of a better term, I'm talking about that stereotypical ignorance that was in the 80s and 90s about Africans from whatever country and the culture. It was an ignorant movie. Funny now, a cultural iconic movie. Yes, I get it. But to call a woman the king of anything, and the only reference you could have to the motherland about we saw her outfit would be the hair. The only reference would be her hair, correct? So this is her hair, as gorgeous as it is. You reference that. I don't know, y'all. I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I understand the reference. He was trying to be insulting. I'm sure he picked that up from a podcast. Let's continue. I don't know. It's a microaggression coming from a black man with locks. A microaggression about her hair from a black man with locks. Hmm.
in traffic in a like $40 lift that I pay for myself. I'm going to have this Ethiopian food that I've been craving all day, and I'm never going to see this guy ever again. Like, I decided 2 minutes into the date, like, we were done. I pulled my energy back. Not help him at all that when our server came over, he was Ethiopian and he was like, "Wow, you are gorgeous." And then he talks to the guy and he was like, "What did you do to get a girl like that to go out with you?" And so, I, being the groundling that I am, and do you know he hasn't complimented me on my outfit not once this evening? And the server was like, "Bro, what's wrong with you?" So the guy, we'll call him Glasses because he had glasses and locks. So Glasses is like, "Oh yeah, no, I know. I just don't want to blow her head up." Goes on to tell me like this wild story about like three of his ex-girlfriends. They all end up doing racist things to him in the end. And he was surprised that a black girl, especially a black girl who looked like me, would give him the time of day. And I was like, that's odd, but okay. As we're preparing to leave, it's time for the check. I offer to split the check because I know I'm never seeing you again. You don't have to pay for my dinner. I wanted the Ethiopian food. I got the Ethiopian food. Like, it's fine. And he was like, no, 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 I'm gonna pay. I'm gonna pay. And the server is now like, yeah, like, I'm not taking your card. And then the owner comes over and he was like, "You better not let her pay for your food or you're never going to see her again." So Glasses is like, "Are you still down to go to the art show?" And I was like, like, it depends. I'm actually, a little sleepy. I'm kind of ready to go.
If you follow me on TikTok, you'll realize that I have a video that is specifically for situations like this, in which I tell women there is absolutely no benefit to being nice. None. Because in that moment where she's saying, and he hasn't complimented me one time on my outfit, that she said to the server in jest, she was still at a point of redemption with this man. The joke alone was so offensive, I would have never spoken to him again. I probably would have ended the date at the joke. But I think she was still maybe in a position where she was fine with maybe coaching him still through the date. So, had he thrown enough compliments after the joke, she would have considered seeing him again. Women, you have no benefit in being nice. Understand also when this black man is telling her that his previous ex girlfriends, three of them, based on her story, three of the ex girlfriends were racist to him. This is a man that he's given off enough that I would never go for dessert with him. I would never still try to attend the art show with him. We can rap. This is rap, like director's cut, end scene. He's done. But the fact that she is still like kind of willing to still go for ice cream or dessert, still go to the art show is part of that gray area where he can still redeem himself. I don't know. Ain't my business. I'm just giving my opinion. Women, you have every right to say absolutely not. I'm not interested anymore and I'm out. At any moment. At any moment. This is someone that doesn't even know how to compliment you. What do you think a relationship with this person would be like if he's not even generous with his kindness? How could he be generous with his words, with his time, with his money, with his affection? He's not even generous in providing a compliment to you on the first date. This is a man that doesn't deserve to see you again. But let's continue.
go. We can go by there and, maybe take a quick look around. And he was like, okay, cool. So we go over to the event. We drive over to the event. There's no parking, and there's a super long line wrapped around the building multiple times. Everybody's trying to get into this show. It's a big deal. Like, it's your friend, right? He was like, yeah, but I'm texting him, but he's not answering. We might have to stand in this line. And I was like, I don't do lines. You want to get dessert somewhere or whatever? And I was like, I could do a little something sweet. But everything was closed because it's now like 8:30, and there's this rooftop bar that has a bowling alley in it. Would you be okay going there? Maybe they have a dessert menu. And I said, yeah, let's try it. I'm cute. I keep getting compliments from everybody else, so I might as well, get compliments on this outfit. And so we go to the bar, and I get compliments from the bartender, from the DJ, from all the girls that are at the bar.
Let me say something else to you ladies. On my last video of the disaster date from the BLK dating app, she mentioned she was doing it for the plot. Dear Black women, all women, stop doing it for the plot. Drop these potatoes, these hot potatoes, drop them right where they are. She's like, yeah, I'll continue the date because I have a great outfit on and I'm getting compliments all night. Girl, wear it again the next day with your girls. Wear it again the next day for brunch. I mean, seriously, wear it again the next day. Drop this man off at his friend's art gallery showing and continue on with your life. You decided I'll go to the art show. Okay, the art show's occupied with a long line. No, let's go for ice cream. Everything's closed. Oh, let's go to a rooftop bar. Why are you still with him? Why are you still with him? This is somebody who still, after the dinner, after the ride to the art gallery, and now the conversation about ice cream still hasn't paid you a compliment because now you're discussing going to a rooftop bar to get compliments still from other people. The setup is your own, sis. The setup is truly your own. This is frustrating for me.
They're like, oh my gosh, your hair is so pretty. I love your nails. The bar, there's this really cute Asian bartender who tells me that he loves my hair. I was like, thank you. Can you believe this guy hasn't complimented me on my outfit or my hair all night? And he's like, bro, what are you doing? And he was like, your hair is really beautiful. Matter of fact, your drinks are on me tonight. What do you want to try? I was like, I'll try a French 75, please. That was my first time having one. We can't end up bowling because you have to like reserve the things. And so we like danced and had like a great night. And then the next day I texted him that I don't think we're a match. Good luck out there. He was then upset, and he was like, is it because I didn't compliment you? Like I just got really nervous, and I just didn't want you to think that I was like super into you. Why wouldn't you want the girl that is on a date with you to think that you're into her? Anyways, so the loneliness epidemic, it's not a real thing. It's not a real thing. Dating in LA story.
So I'm going to stop sharing this screen because I just want to talk to you about what we just saw from this young lady. And unfortunately, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at his behavior, nor am I surprised at her behavior because everyone involved did what I expect people to do. Because women, I understand danger completely. So I know that women move with precision. But you've now gone to three places plus an Uber ride with this person. At some point, even at the Ethiopian restaurant, let me give you ladies a tidbit of information. At the Ethiopian restaurant, she absolutely could have said, hey, I'm about to order me an Uber. Um, I've had a great night, and once it gets here, I'll go out and get into it. and I don't think we should continue the date. You had the owner there, the waiter there, and you could have easily went to the bathroom and told them, "Hey, I want to just grab an Uber. I don't want to stay on this date. Can you walk me out to the car?" You can find ways or find another table, a woman in the bathroom, a woman walking to the bathroom, or ask a woman, "Hey, can you help me with my dress in the bathroom?" I am absolutely sure there's a sister, another woman that will get up and tell you, absolutely for sure. Or this is what you say. Let me tell you something really, really easy you could say. I'm sorry, my hair is behind my glasses and it's bothering me. Something super easy you can say as a woman if you need to get out of a date, find another woman or a waiter or waitress, and you say, "Hey, I'm on a date, but can you come in the bathroom with me and help me with my dress? Or is there another girl here that can help me with my dress?" That is a great way to get out of a date that you don't want to be on or a situation that you don't want to be in. 100%. So I just have so many questions about why she continued to date the rest of the night. And I'm going to say it again, stop doing it for the plot. It makes absolutely no sense for you to do it for the plot. There's no reason that she should have continued on this date with this person at all. I'll also say that women are strategically, purposefully pulling themselves off of the dating market because of incidents like this and because young women are waking up. The women that I seem to be getting the most problematic behavior from, I'm going to be honest, the women that I'm getting the most problematic behavior from are women my age and up who still have this blind, unwavering loyalty to problematic behavior, problematic black men who are not date worthy, are not partner worthy, are not marriage material at all. So when we use the term marriage material, I think we need to start talking about the men. Are the men marriage material? Stop using marriage material only to describe women who you think will provide you free domestic labor. Are these men that you're talking about, these men, are they marriage material? Let's have a real conversation. There are so many problematic scenarios in the information that men are getting about, I mean, what they're listening to unqualified, unsuccessful, non married, non monogamous, idiotic, superficial, lack of morality, char- character flawed males on these podcasts. And even in turn, beyond that, you see so many women listening to these same buffoons. I can call them out by name, and it's very scary because women need to, number one, wake up and let the men fix themselves. I saw a post that my girlfriend sent me just yesterday. This guy was getting out of prison, 18 years. Somebody posted, "My uncle went to jail when I was 11. He just got out when I'm 29." The women in the comments, I understand not every comment is to be taken serious. I get nuance, I get joking, I get in jest, right? What I'm saying is that if there are 2,000 comments on a post about a man that just got out of prison, and all of them are talking about how handsome he is. He only needs to change clothes, go to the club, and he could be living with somebody before the night is out. Before the night is over, that man who just got out of prison for 18 years would have somebody to live with. Because women will dedicate themselves on love after lockup and love during lockup. They will dedicate themselves to these men that they've never met before through pen pal, FaceTime, or Facebook group relationships. Men they've never met before. Dedicate themselves, get tattoos with these men on their bodies, or get tattoos of these men on their bodies, and be pulled up when them gates open and the nigga run out of jail. They will be pulled the fuck up with their kids. That's the even more crazy part, with their children in tow. I'm hoping that more women start to see that this is a problem and start making the men prove their worth, prove that they are marriage material, prove that they deserve to be in your home, prove that they could be a good role model for your child before you let them near your child. Let these people show you their character, not that they're just attractive, have a warm body. Most of the time, they're not attractive. They have a warm body and they make an empty, veiled promises to you. They gaslight you before you can even get away from them. You know the cycle. Ladies, we've all been through the cycle. We all have a girlfriend, a grandmama, an auntie, our own mama, our little sister, us. Everybody has a shared experience across the board. And I speak specifically to Black women on my platform, but everybody across the board has a shared experience. Because like I've told you all before, everybody has a shared experience, because when I was starting to file divorce, I started to join like the Reddit threads, the Facebook groups. I wanted to know how to split the house, how this divorce attorney is billing me, or how I will be billed, just to have a shared experience in some community around what I was going through. I realized that that's what really opened my eyes to see that white women are having a shared experience with Black women. There's no difference at all. Nobody is living a better life. If they're pretending to, it's an illusion. Nobody is living a better life, because this is not just a problem in the Black male community, it is a problem in the male community. Incel is a problem across the board. As women start to wake up and pull back and say no thank you, the incel community will grow. The loneliness epidemic will grow. It's really unfortunate, but I'm glad this woman was able to get away from this guy and text him that we're done, we're over. And I would suggest block him, because again, you're playing into the doing it for the plot. I'm going to keep going out, keep hanging out with this guy. I'm going to insult him. And then that's another thing. Like, while she was with him, she kept kind of digging at him. I don't think that was smart, but who am I to say? I'm just very actually excited that I was able to share that dating horror story with you all. Hopefully, I gave you some tips and tricks on how to get out of a date if you're on one and you don't want to be there. Um, just, yeah, be smart. Don't do it for the plot, and you don't have to be kind. The only person you need to protect is yourself and your children, if that's your situation. But I thank you all. I'm so glad I was able to get through this video on this new platform. I went from StreamYard to Riverside, so I'm not sure if it's great. There are some things I wanted to practice, but I'm very excited. I'm going to show before we go, so don't run out of here yet. Just before we go, I want to show one other video from a woman that I saw today, and I'm hoping I can play it through really quickly. I just want to.
A lot of heterosexual men don't like women for real.
Can we talk about this again today? Do you want to talk about this again today or no? If you're in the chat, just say yes or no. We can talk about this with Ace Metaphor. It's a short video, but I want to just get you all's opinion, whether you want to whether you want to chat about this ace metaphor situation or not. Another problematic male with a podcast and a microphone and given authority over women's lives. Women line up in droves to get his opinion on relationships. Okay, I'm not getting any feedback in the chat, so I'm gonna play it. We'll run through it real quick. And then we'll move on to the woman's video that I wanted to show you all.
They don't. They like women sexually, but they don't like women. They're not attracted to what a woman is outside of her sexual organs. So then when we get into why a lot of men womanize, or why it's just they're minimizing a woman based off of who she slept with or who she potentially can sleep for, it, because it's like you haven't gained the appreciation of the wholeness of a woman yet, and what that wholeness of a woman can bring to your life. A lot of times we're talking about strength.
You know, my biggest issue with this is that I'm sorry, y'all, these glasses just really aggravate my nostrils, but they look so nice to me. Anyway, the biggest issue that I have with Ace Metaphor's conversation with Cam on this episode of Funky Friday is that there is no conversation of like an in between, right? It's like men are womenizers, men cheat, men degrade women based on, you know, how many men she slept with, how many children she has, da 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 da. Da. And then no, start appreciating a woman and get you a woman that, where is the in between? It's like womanizer married. There seems to be no in between for when people are discussing about maturing, self help, gaining some discipline, creating a life that would add value to another person's life, and then meet a partner. It's like, no, you can go from being a womanizer, cheater, 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 abusive, 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 to married, find the woman. And then you get people that come on, like Dear Wifey podcast, and they talk about how much they actually despised being with someone that the person they ended up marrying. You know why? Because there's no addressing that person by themselves as a whole. As a whole person, we never hear these men, these podcasters, talk about addressing the issue with these men. It's like, no, just automatically click. You're no longer a womanizer, a cheater, or abusive. You found a wife. Huh? Listen to this conversation. There is no point in time where he says, take a break, find yourself, build your life, become mature, do some internal work, and then go meet the woman that you now see value in. There is no there's no process for that being discussed on these platforms. Men are just allowed to be trash and then skip a step and then become married husbands, pastors, community leaders. I just don't get it. Where's the step about the mental health, the maturity, the financial gains? Nothing. Because in the end, you're still a womanizer who is looking to come up on the back of a woman. You're still looking to come up on the back of a woman. That's why he's saying this. Because there is no self help. They don't talk about that. They don't want to talk about that.
And we'll say men are stronger than women, but that's because we value physical strength. We're not talking about emotional strength, spiritual strength. Yeah. We're not talking about the type of strength that can run a household. And we're not putting that same type of weight. And what I would encourage, and this was the shift that I had to do, is I had to start liking the wholeness of a woman outside of sex. And then when you do that, now you appreciate the things a complete woman can bring to your life. When we talk about the Bible talks about finding a
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, there is the financial, I'm sorry, the religious part. And that's what Lateris and Dear Wifey podcast, Dear Future Wifey discusses, right? It's abuse to religious, and religious is wife, right? It's abusive to marriage. It's abusive to marriage. There is no in between. He said, just click your brain to start appreciating women. Click your brain to tell you to stop hating women.
Capable wife, right? That capable wife, that person that if you was to stumble, can pick up the ball and start running.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of men that have just a wife because they was only concerned about what she can do in the bed.
Yeah.
And so what I'm just encouraging men to do is just like, and it's for our own benefit, because a lot of us, especially men with some type of means, we end up finding a dependent, not a partner. Yeah, she can fuck us good. But if you was able to stumble, bro, what the fuck is gonna happen with your family? And so I just encourage men to be, I'm not gonna say more, because that's unrealistic to a lot of men, but as attracted to what she brings as a feminine energy to your life outside of just what you're doing in between.
this out.
A lot of heterosexual men.
He even admitted it right then. He said they can't be more. They don't know how to be more. More is a huge expectation for them. Do you understand? Don't be more attracted to how she is as a person. Be equally attracted, because we know you don't have the capability of being more attracted to who she is as a person. Because he said it. For a lot of men, that's not possible. See? See how that goes? All right, let's go to the final video I want to try to share with you all. I'm kind of positive I saved it in my favorites here on TikTok. Here it is. I thought this was great. I thought this was chef's kiss. Let's go.
I've never been here, so I need us to brace ourselves. Itomo wengi, but hold on. I think for the first time in my life, I felt apathy towards something. It's not even about decentering men. I don't care. It's not indifference. It's not hate. It's just, when something is just existent, but you don't even pay attention to it anymore. Like, and it's so scary to me because I'm still so young. But the desire of partnership, marriage, family is slowly like, if not even slowly, I think I'm over it. I genuinely feel like I'm over it. And I kind of think like my purpose is bigger than a romantic relationship. And I used to be a lover, like I used to be a hopeless romantic, don't get me wrong. I watched all the Disney shows and how they portrayed them as emotionally mature and the leaders. But in reality, that's the opposite. Like they're nothing like that. And if anything, just as any human, I have been empathetic towards them, caring, understanding. But all those motherfuckers do will drown you. Like they would see help and punish you for helping them. That's crazy. Like, wow. But it's true. And I used to think it's like a certain man, like, oh, like a broke guy or a rich guy or like a European guy or an African man. Like, no, they're all the same.
You see what she said? As a young girl, they're waking up. This young woman just said, no, everybody's having the same experience. They're all the same. Young, old, rich, poor, white, black, African American, South African. I'm assuming that's where she's from. I'm picking up an accent that sounds South African. Look at the comments. There are 2,500 comments. They're lazy, they're jealous, they're immature, they're so emotional, they're delusional, they're backwards. Men are only considerate when it benefits them. The desire to be loved and wanted is a black hole. You have explained my female rage so well. The worst thing you can do is love a man. When you see it, you can't unsee it. Romantic love to me is literally just an accessory to this life experience. I'm here to experience love in many other forms. The being perceived wrongly, wife material, whatever, sexualized, belittled. Oh my God, it's draining. You're just highly intelligent. Most women figure this out later in life. We are blessed to have access to millions of women's stories that burst the illusion of so much. Please understand what is happening. Please understand what is happening. Women are waking up. I think we as women are in the middle of a revolution because the way these exact thoughts are running in my mind currently is insane. This woman said, I became this in 2018 and all I want is money so I will be able to travel. I don't care about a lot of things anymore. And they hate it when you don't care. The weaponized incompetence is draining. I've built my FYP brick by brick and I'm proud of myself. She wants to see this continually on her content. For me was when I realized society hates single moms and no one asks about the father. Oh my God, the book Things Men Don't Want You to Know is mind blowing. I didn't even finish reading the book. I was in denial, but for real, I now see it. They were not lying. It's even scary. To be honest, I'm not even complaining. I kind of like it here. Someone said if you love someone who hates themselves, they're going to punish you for loving them. I just don't care about their existence. The phrase boys will be boys makes me feel like gagging. A man will always pull you to his level. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we are, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we are and I am emotional. I am proud because I have so much invested in women taking back their power. Taking back their power. Let the men figure it out themselves. And then you come back and you could be in a relationship with them if that's what you desire. But let the men take care of themselves. But I tell women all the time that give men always the benefit of the doubt that you have to be realistic. 2,500 women in these comments of 500,000 views. I think 7,000 saves. 7,000 women favorited this video. Or I'm sorry, 7,000 people. I don't know that they're all women. Once I exited my marriage, I started immediately. I met someone almost immediately. And this man took care of me financially. Right after I filed divorce, I met somebody and he provided for me. Let me stop sharing for just a second. Right when I left my marriage, I met a man almost immediately. About a month later, 3 weeks later, he immediately started taking care of me. Like whatever I wanted, wherever I wanted to go, would send wires of money multiple times a week, paid off the divorce lawyer. This man was draining. This man was draining. And I realized at that moment because I was a woman that had just lost my marriage. I thought that, I wanted to do this all over again because it could be right now. You could do it right. Mm-mm, mm-mm. I understand now that what happens in marriage is a ritualistic energy exchange. It's a ritualistic energy exchange. And I mean on the highest level. I want you to think about something you could never imagine happening on this earth. Something so spiritually think of times we had before modern times. That is what marriage reminds me of. And I am hard pressed to find an honest woman who would tell you that hers is different. Hard pressed for me to find an honest woman who would tell you hers is different. Marriage is a ritualistic energy exchange, and you know who's being drained. I hate to say it. I understand we can all post beautiful dinners out, travel photos, vacation photos, all of that with our husbands. But most of us are waking up. And I left a marriage that I wasn't being cheated on, I wasn't being abused. My husband paid all of the bills. So, in the mind of a woman that is still trapped in that cycle, that would be a perfect partner. But I started to understand, even in my marriage, before I started to date this guy, I started to connect the dots on certain things. And I was able to connect the dots that, yes, this guy is doing exactly what my husband did. But there is something here about even being in relationship with them that is so draining. And I started to put all the pieces together that maybe somewhere where marriage was thought of and women were thought to be owned by a man, that there could be something very sinister in the origination of this. There could be something sinister in the ritualistic joining of two people by a supreme ordained person. And maybe it's not as beautiful and romantic and fairy tale as it is presented. Maybe it is a ceremony, a ritual, a practice of something dark. I hope I'm not losing you. I hope I'm not losing you, and I hope I'm not going too far. But if you think about it, if one human is proposed for life to another human, it sounds very host parasite. And if you just change the words around from a ceremony to a ritual, I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. Yeah. And if you look at the statistics, and we can ask, let's ask chat. Let's go to our chat GPT and ask chat if she close this out. Hey chat, how many or what's the percentage of divorces initiated by women versus men?
Hey, in the United States, about 70% of divorces are initiated by women. This percentage is even higher among college educated women. There are many factors that contribute to this trend, including societal expectations and the desire for more equitable relationships.
Thanks, chat. I'll call you back.
You're welcome. Talk to you soon.
ChatGPT just told us that 70% of divorces are initiated by women because there is an immense, very scary, very dark, very deep something that is happening there. I'm sorry, I just wanted to make sure that I am loud enough for you all. I hope I am. Let me just check the mic level. I hope it's good, guys. I'm sorry if it's not. Y'all want to let's continue watching the video that I was sharing, but I want people to start thinking about it that way because I consider myself to be a huge intellectual. I'm an absolute energy reader. And what I noticed was my energy was being drained, even in a relationship like the one past marriage, where I was like, okay, everything is the same. What exactly is going on? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I having any type of aversion to situations that seemingly aren't horrible, right? I'm not an unrealistic person where I'm expecting perfection from a partner. Not at all. I'm a very realistic person where I'm saying, hey, there are ups and downs, there are disagreements. We've been raised differently for the last 40 years. Of course, we're going to have very different viewpoints on so many things just as people who and especially because both of the men were West African. One was Nigerian, the other was Ghanaian. Very different personalities. Of course, if you've ever dated or been involved with a Nigerian man, you know that dynamic and that personality type regardless of the tribe. And then Ghanaian men have a very different personality type, very laid back, very smooth, charismatic, charming, loving, soft men in most cases. Kind of soft. Not in a bad or insulting way at all. Very kind, gentle men. And this was somebody that would literally do anything I asked for, was very like I've used the term selfless about the person I used to date. He was a selfless person. He would do absolutely anything for me. And at the end of the day, I still felt something was not, it didn't feel good in my soul anymore. It did not feel good in my soul anymore to be loved by a man. And I don't know what exactly that was, but it's something. And even now to this day, I'm still like on and off dating apps, and I'm like, maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't, but I will never again let that be my focus because I'm leaning more towards it'll never feel right for me again. It'll never feel right for me again. And I'm okay with that. That doesn't make me like, a bitter person or somebody that's given up hope. No, I'm just like these young women. I'm waking up. And like you saw in one of the comments, somebody said most women realize this is at a much later age. And I did. I realized it when I was 41, 40 years old, 39, I divorced. No, how old am I now? I'm 40. I divorced when I was 39. I'm sorry, 40, turned 41, now about to turn 42. Mm-hmm. And I dated that person after my husband for about a year. Solid relationship. I had no ideas of, this person was seeing somebody else. This person, I've been to their house multiple times, slept over once or twice. Um, this person and I would always be together. I mean, he was an entrepreneur, so he didn't work. He had tons of money from wherever. But we were always together. I never had any feelings of, traditional things that break people up. No, we were always together. We were always at a restaurant, always trying to go out of town, doing things with each other, spending holidays together. This man made huge efforts to be a part of my life. And at the end of the day, I still didn't feel great about it. I still didn't feel great about it. So let's continue watching the video to see what the young women are saying about their desire to no longer be desired.
For as long as there's a Y chromosome, they just see the world as power dynamics and control dynamics. And no matter what you do as a woman, like no matter who you are, no matter how amazing and kind, that's how they'll see the world forever. And I'm not just deriving this from my experiences, because that would be like dumb to base my whole argument on that. But I'm looking at how our parents live. I'm looking at how TikTok married women are complaining about the mental load, the mental load, the workload, to the point it started making me think, like, is this thing even worth it? Like, if I could mention, most of the creeps in my life were niggas, and they get away with a lot. I mean, the world holds them to no standards whatsoever. Especially if like a child is misbehaving, the first person to be blamed is the mother. And there's this like unspoken empathy for men who do bad things. Like like that show Adolescence. Everyone's like, oh my god, look at him, he's like going through so much. And like, a woman died. I know it's fantasy, but like there's just this unspoken empathy for the man who's struggling and he doesn't know what he's doing. First of all, the only way that men learn is through consequences. Like, we've known this time and time again. So I don't know why we're still babysitting. We are still babysitting. I don't know, like. And when I just realized that they use women as rehabilitation centers, they literally come to you to feel like the man, to boost their ego, to be fed, to be loved, and drain that out of you to go to another woman and cry to her about you and do the same thing to her. I don't know, guys. And every time I would listen to dark psychologists, especially women like Priscilla or even Nangami, I was like, I used to listen with half an ear because like I still cared about romantic relationships and I still cared about men in a sense. But then with time, I'm like, there's so much truth in this. Like, I don't even want to lie. Like, there's so much truth. Even there's a book called Things Men Don't Want You to Know, written by men, and they claim all these things. And I feel like I've seen the truth and I can't unsee it. Like, I can't unsee it. And also when I started to do like the deep healing, I realized how much I was basing my validation on being picked. And when I started to heal that, I realized, babe, I've been craving something that I inherently didn't even want. I just craved it because other girls were doing it, or it's like the normal thing in like biology. You know, we want to be together because we reproduce. But at the end of the day, when I really sat down and I realized, where do I get my value from? And when I went to that route, I finally realized I've been desiring something I don't even want or even understand. And let me say why I finally came to this conclusion. They are the most self-centered, self-absorbed people I've ever met. And I'm a giver. So I really appreciate givers or people who are just observant. What's crazy is you will really be around a man and he will not notice the impact of his actions, his words. Like, he's so disillusioned. I don't even know about what. They don't pay attention to their surroundings. Or rather, even if they do pay attention to their surroundings, they don't care. I was watching this TikTok of a girl say, like, she asked her husband to help around because they had like 4 kids and yada yada. And he was like, okay, can you tell me what you need me to do? That would make me go fucking crazy. How am I been living with you for years and you don't know how?
I think I have to give credit to uh someone here on YouTube who may have, I'm not saying 100%, someone on YouTube, I believe, coined the term married single mother. The married single mother is what I saw when I was watching a clip that was on Jimmy Fallon. So Jimmy Fallon, his talk show does like I'm sorry, not late night, street interviews. So if they saw a father in this segment, if they saw a father with their child, they would come up to the father with the child and ask the dad, hey, what's your child's favorite XYZ? Favorite teacher, what's the name of their school, what's their birthday, who's their best friend. Every dad got it wrong. There was a laugh track, or maybe the real audience playing after each. But this is what women are talking about online with this weaponized incompetence, along with the um the weaponized incompetence, along with the married single mother. They're completely checked out. They're completely checked out. They're so checked out that I talked about this before. There's a colleague I have at work whose birthday was coming up. This story will never leave my side. Please understand. This is a woman, a beautiful sister who takes in children through her foster care and adoption. She has like 7 children in her home. Her birthday was coming up. She mentioned that she wanted to go to a nice restaurant, but she said, I know my husband won't take me. This is a woman that dedicates herself to other people each and every day, all day. And she specifically said, I'm not going to worry about it because I know my husband won't take me for my birthday to a restaurant. Not the south of France, not Versailles, not Morocco, not Dubai, not London, not Miami. A restaurant that she lives 15 minutes from. She knew her husband wouldn't take her. And I point that story out. That one will never leave my head, but it doesn't matter. You know why? Because I know most of the married women have that same shared experience. Most of you are overperforming. Let me tell you something that made my life easier, my stress less, my rest better. Is I don't have a man in my life that I'm overperforming for. I still do the same things. My house is still clean. I still cook a meal every night. I still get dressed up and look great every day. But it's something so unnatural when you're having someone who's not even worth a t-shirt and a bonnet on your head. And you ain't brushed your teeth until 8 a.m. He ain't even worth that. He ain't even worth bad breath, a bonnet, and a dirty shirt for you to walk around the house and do nothing. He ain't even worth that. And you're overperforming in your femininity. Y'all will get tired of me because I'm gonna repeat the same stories all the time because there are certain things that I have just been able to hone in on since I've been this free bird. And that was one of the men that used to wine and dine me. Oh my God. This man, restaurant opening, fancy rooftop, chef's table. This was just a magnificent person if that's the life you're looking for. I've kind of really tried to escape from that city life. I don't know. It's just something about being downtown Chicago that just doesn't appeal to me anymore in the same way that it used to. I'm looking for a easier, slower life. Even when I go like on road trips to um, through Illinois, I'm more amazed at the greenery, at the lush landscapes than I am with downtown, finding somewhere to park for $60, going to somebody's rooftop, overpaying for sliders that taste like trash, or getting some overcooked lamb chops on a bed of lettuce. Like, please spare me. I'm not interested in that lifestyle anymore. I may pop out if my girl is having an event. There's a birthday party, Black Yacht Week. But you talking about just random weekends going downtown and paying $20 for 3 sliders made of ground beef that they got from Walmart? That makes absolutely no sense. The drinks don't appeal to me. I'm not a drinker. I'm just not in the nightlife anymore. And I'm more attracted to, hey, let's take a road trip, see some greenery, stay in a tiny home. Something like that is so appealing to me now. But that life of rooftops and bars and loud music and mingling with people and dressing, overdressing, because I'm a look stunning. I think you know that. I'm a look stunning. And then I'm there with the people that I don't know, and they don't want to speak, and I don't want to speak. I mean, listen. I'm a talker, and I'm someone that travels solo. I'm someone that goes out solo, concerts solo, but people aren't engaging. People don't have the same, I don't know. I have a gift. I love talking to people. I can talk a lot. But anyway, so that lifestyle doesn't appeal to me. I was talking about the guy that used to take me out all the time. He was like a big shot kind of guy. He had this he was a member of the Metropolitan Club downtown Chicago, which is like $400 or $500 a month just to network. I mean, I think you get some kind of benefit. I don't know, a free drink. I don't know. But they charge these people like $500 a month to be a member in this club. It was very, very pretentious. People that he was a nice guy, but the people there I didn't want to be around. And in fact, I could probably come back and tell you another story about this because he had a friend that he wanted me to meet very, very bad. And if I start talking this story, you may even know who I'm talking about because I think, is a very successful writer for one of the very large sports magazines. He's also a filmmaker for one of the very large sports networks. So if you think about, say, a documentary on Scottie Pippen or a documentary on Kobe Bryant, maybe. Okay. So I met this guy. I was enamored by this man. I thought he was amazing. I was like, oh, what a brilliant mind. We had a very I almost I was I liked this person when we met. And this is somebody that he would always be at the Metropolitan Club with, or they would meet there some nights. And so he was a part of this same kind of circle of men. And the Metropolitan Club, I'm not saying is a bad place, but if you're somebody that's paying $500 a month to mingle, yeah, no, maybe you're not my speed. I'm probably looking for a guy in a King Ranch who has a stable and a couple acres of land, and his house backs up to like rolling meadows. You know what I mean? But yeah, so and this was he was a very downtowny kind of guy. So I finally met the friend. He had been asking me repeatedly to come to this Metropolitan Club to meet his friend. And if he's on here watching, no offense, because I know you watch my channel. Um, but yeah, so this gentleman kept asking me to meet his friend. The friend was an intellect, brilliant guy. He's a sports writer. And I thought the world of him when I met him finally. And we had this great conversation. Drinks were flowing. Um, I forget the name of the place we were at, but it was a very beautiful restaurant. I mean, it was perfect. Everything about the night was perfect. And this guy kept talking and talking and talking. And it's almost where me and him were just having a conversation and we were leaving the guy I was dating out of the conversation. And then I asked him because I was truly like mesmerized by this man. I was like, are you married? Like, who is dating you? Because she must be, first of all, he was gorgeous. He was an older man. He was gorgeous, tall, slim, well put. He looked like he stepped out of a J. Crew, Eddie Bauer, like beautiful black man. And he was telling me about his profession, his friends who are very well respected, super famous, like big shot professional athletes. And he had worked to write a documentary on someone. And he spent a lot of time with that person. He considered that person a really good friend. And I was like, oh my God, you live such an amazing life. I'm like, da, 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 da. And he's like, anyway, so I start to ask him, I'm like, who is like dating you? Who are you married to? I would love to, like, who is this person? Girl, he proceeds to tell me he don't black women ain't his thing, sis. Black women is not his thing. He would never da da da. And I was like, oh. And then he started spilling Kevin Samuels shit all in my lap. And I looked at my friend. I was like, oh, this your friend. He was like, yeah. No, this is your friend. This is your friend. This is your friend. I will tell you that I had a conversation. The man left and walked me down to valet to get my car. The man I was dating walked me down to valet to get my car because I started to let's wrap this up. I would tell y'all about the rest of the night, but I think I'll save it for another live. There happened to be two black women sitting next to us at one of the lounge tables in the area we were sitting in after we had kind of wrapped up dinner and we're still kind of chilling with our drinks. Two black women. One happened to be a physician. The other was, I want to say, in law school or was a lawyer. Black women my age. And it was so, the universe was like, because he was like, oh, yeah, I haven't met any black women that are like, but you know, these are the type of men that will give you a compliment while shitting on women that are just like you. Shitting on women. And I'm like, that's what the guy I was dating did. That's why I brought up the whole story. Anyway, the guy I was dating recently messaged me because I had completely stopped talking to him. So he found me on TikTok. We had never exchanged our TikTok handles or social media handles. But I had, after that exchange, me and him had words at the valet stand, and I was like, listen, I don't know what's that wasn't appealing to me. And if those are the type of people, he's like, that is not my point of view. I'm like, listen, I only need one time to see what's going on in your inner circle for me to say, this is not for me. This is not. So what happened was we had words at valet. He called me later that night on my way home. And I was like, yeah, no. So I blocked him. We hadn't spoken for a while. So recently he found me on TikTok and sent me a DM. And I was like open to the idea of talking to him. And what happened was he gave me a compliment. He was like, I was like, yeah, he was like, whatever happened to us going to Tradita? And I was like, yeah, we can still go. Maybe I'll let you know what that looks like. And he was like, you told me to wait for you. I waited for you. I saw that your divorce is final because I did post something on TikTok like, hey guys, I'm finally divorced. I'm so excited. I feel free. He was like, you told me to wait for you. I waited for you. I see your divorce is final. Let's go out. So I'm like, okay, we'll see. I don't, whatever. I don't have an aversion to him. I just didn't like that conversation. But that man got his just due with three women as beautiful and brilliant as the ones that he was surrounded by that night. But anyway, so the guy ends up asking me, you know, when would I like to go? And I was like, I don't know. Maybe I'll order something cute to wear. Da da da. And he was like, you always look so nice. And I was just going through your pictures. It reminded me of how feminine you are. And I was like, oh, that's such a nice compliment until it dawned on me that I don't think the compliment was about me at all. Even though I am feminine, I am extremely glamorous. I'm very pulled together. I am very pulled together, but I think the compliment was more so to shit on other women. And I've started to see that they do this a lot. So if you're getting a compliment, I feel like the energy can tell you what's behind it. I am feminine. I am pulled together. I am glamorous. I am a very soft woman. But his compliment was probably, if you let them talk long enough, they'll give you enough information. And I know for a fact, I feel like his compliment was more so, Yeah, because you know how the other women be out here dressing. It's like if I post something about my kid doing an amazing job in school, it's like, oh, you're such a great mother. I'm starting to read into that shit when it comes from men because are you trying to step me on somebody else's back? Are you trying to insult somebody else when you give me this little compliment? I know maybe I'm reading too much into it, but we know how they operate. So never think that you're overthinking. If you feel like you're overthinking, you're probably just catching up with where the man is at this point. So he gave me that compliment and I was like, oh, okay, thank you. But something about it turned me off. And I think I'm a great energy reader. I think I'm a great energy reader. So I just said that entire story to tell you that, yeah, I don't know if they like us at all. Let's wrap up this. Yeah, I don't know if they like us at all. Let's wrap up this beautiful girl sharing the rest of her ideology now.
Of being of help. You don't know how to be of help to me. There's nothing you observed me go through or do that you could take up upon. And it's like niggas in the comments like, we're not perfect. You have to tell us where we need to help. Just open your eyes, guys. Like, just open your eyes. And you know what's crazy is they make women look like this superior being. Women also don't know. They're also doing life for the first time. But for some reason, they observe and they know how to be of importance or how to show up for people.
Yeah.
What do you mean, show me how I can help? Like, what the? Just say you're incompetent. I think, like, they've really banked on this incompetence, even like this violence act. It's just incompetence to their own issues, like incompetence to their own situations that they project on other people. And I'm not doing that shit anymore. Like,
Yes.
I refuse to have people around me who are not doing the work. I refuse to be, and that's most of men. I'm so sorry. I refuse to be around people who just can't.
She just touched on something that I think relates back to the story I was telling you about the guy I dated right out of my divorce. That guy did everything for me, but something in me was like, if I ever wanted something bad enough, I would have to ask for it. If I ever wanted something huge, I would have to make the plans, call the restaurant, make the reservation. And I don't want to live my life like that. I don't want somebody attached to my hip that I have to mother as my man. Regardless of if you're making seven figures, I don't know, maybe. Regardless of how much money you're bringing in and how much you got to offer me as a grown man who's successful in business, very successful in business, it was not a thing this man said no to me about. But yet and still, I felt like if there was something I really wanted, I would have to ask for it. There was never a foresight. There was never, oh, I just told my girlfriend, hold on, y'all. Let me stop sharing this screen for 1 second. I just told my girlfriend, I said the overarching thing, because we complain about the podcast bros. We complain about the rhetoric that they're spilling out. We complain about the men. But I think the overarching theme for the trouble that they've gotten themselves into with this quote unquote loneliness epidemic is that there's no foresight. And she just touched on that and it's very profound. I'm sorry, young as she is, the video is profound. The insight she has at that age is profound. But what I recognize is that there is always a lack of foresight. So although I was with this man who was amazing and generous and kind and soft and very even keeled and hardworking and selfless, there was zero foresight. And I knew, because I have foresight as a woman, This is why women show up the way we do. I have foresight as a woman that I understood if I get divorced and make this man my next husband, hmm I could have all the material things I wanted in the world, but I would be planning every step of our lives together. Every step. No matter how kind, no matter how generous, no matter how selfless he was, I didn't want somebody attached at the hip that I would have to like walk through dating me. I would have to walk you through being my husband. And I could not do that, especially getting out of the marriage that I just got out of. It was a blessing for me to not rush into another situation where I would have had to divorce. Praise God for the foresight. Praise God for the foresight that women have, because I knew that I would have to walk this person through continuously how to be my husband, how to love me, how to plan for me, how to make a date night happen, how to plan for my birthday, what I wanted for my 50th. Da, 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 da. These are the things that I'm not about to do. I would rather do them myself with peace and with love and with all this inspiration and this flow that I have now. And I'm a woman that has usually dated generous men for whatever reason. I mean, I'm gorgeous. I'm absolutely beautiful. I'm a stunning woman. I've dated men who have been generous, and I don't have a money desire at this age because I've dated providers. I've dated the big boys, like big money men, right? And the money isn't what I'm after because I think the money just comes. The money is just going to be there. I think my energy is just going to always give. Do you have financial stability, right? I think the issue is going to be for me is, are you there? Are you there with me? And I think that's why I gave that man who was 58 years old like a chance to like talk to me and like read his energy. And I'm like, oh, this might be where you need to be. Girl, abysmal. Abysmal. You understand? Sorry if I'm not, if I'm looking down, I'm also looking at my screen. Abysmal. So I don't know if I'm even interested in continuing to search for that person. Maybe they'll fall out of the sky on one of my beautiful travels across the world. Maybe so. But at this age, I think I've done all of the things that, you know, I something profound that Kendra G said one time was maybe there is a person for the chapters, right? So you have, maybe you have children with someone and you marry them and you then divorce, and then maybe you then meet, or you have children with someone and then you marry someone else, and then you divorce, and then you meet the person that you're supposed to do life with. So maybe I'm at that stage where it's like, okay, I've had my child, check. Very ecstatic about that. Ecstatic. I couldn't be more blessed. I've been married, check. Ecstatic about that. Loved when it was good. It was amazing. But when it was time to go, it was time to go. I have no qualms about that. I have no ill will about what I chose to do. I don't regret it at all. I've never told my story publicly about why I left, because it would be traumatic for the people in the minor children involved, right? So I've decided in protecting them, it unfortunately protects him, and I don't get to tell his villain story. But and my child wasn't involved. But you have to understand how people parent before you partner with somebody too. I think we all talk about superficial things in relationships and how many kids you got and da 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 da. What's your love language? Think about how do you parent children if there are children involved in the relationship. What do you think of women's rights, gay rights? Like, what are your fundamental beliefs? It's very important. And I'm gonna tell you what, just because they show up to church don't mean shit. Just because people show up to church and they look God fearing and they get dressed and they pull up in the nice luxury car and they hop out with a beautiful family, this super black family that looks amazing, please. Those people be the ones cloaked in evil. Cloaked in evil. And I wish I could have did more to stay and protect the minor child that was involved, but I have a minor child too. I have a minor child too. So I'm not going to say too much about that. It was just treacherous. It was, and before I went, I had to get out and I took my baby girl with me. But anyway, like I was saying, yeah, so I have no regrets about that, but I really was moved by what Kendra said. And I really like to hang on to things that mean a lot to me in life, whether good or whether a learning lesson, a learning experience. I'm at the age where I really I place so much value on experience and lessons. But what Kendra said was so profound to me because I'm like, yes, I've done that. I've had the beautiful child, perfection. Praise God for that blessing. I've had the wonderful marriage. It was great until it was time for me to go. And it was really great until it was time for me to exit. And then now it's like, do you meet your life partner now? I have hope that that will happen. But I'm also going to be probably impossible to date because I'm so hyper aware of what the dating pool looks like, rhetoric what rhetoric men are like listening to, and how superficial they are, and how other races are having the same experience across the board. So maybe it makes me a little cynical, but I'd rather be cynical and safe than delusional and in danger. Let's finish up this woman's um tale of her exit from wanting to be desired by men.
Observe their actions and the way the universe moves and what it needs and demands from us. There's this song by Georgia Smith called "The One." Georgia Smith is a lyrical genius. It's like the one with the nice violins, and she says there's beggars, there's heartbreakers, there's takers, there's givers. She said, even if I found the one, like even if I found the most perfect guy who was meeting on my side, I'll still not settle because at the end of the day, it's not worth it. Like it's really not worth it. Especially as a woman, if you really want to tap into your power, like as a woman,
Yeah.
hiyo kitu achana tu nayo, achana tu. And I never used to, my frontal lobe imefunguka. I never used to understand Nangami or like Priscilla. I was like, oh my God, like why be so miserable? Like, mbona, like I know that men are bad and everything, but there has to be that one guy who come. If Georgia Smith was like, if I found the one, if I found the most amazing guy, I'd still be like, I'm not settling. Because at the end of the day, babe, I realize that life is very spiritual and everything is an energetic field, everything is a frequency. And every time I'm around these people, and I hate to be a hater, every time I'm around them, I just feel like I'm being perceived wrongly fast. Hey, I don't even know what the wife, I don't know. They perceive me wrongly fast and they're just constantly sipping from my energy, whether that's through my emotions, whether that's through like even my worldview. I'm constantly teaching a man how to have empathy. I'm constantly teaching a man how to show up for himself. Adam Mimi issue the first time. Even me, I'm living the first time. I refuse to suffer. Babe, I think the one thing you can do to heal is release the desire to be loved or wanted. And I think I'm seeing the pearly gates. It's all a lie. And I think the stage of a woman is discovering that it was all a lie and there was nothing real about love and companionship. It's all a lie. It's all a lie. Okay. And I'm not saying that because every man is bad and everything. It's not worth it. It's not worth it, child. I've never been here.
I'm going to tell you that I did not finish watching that video when I saved it and favored it. So the frequency that she is now on is the frequency that I am now on, is the frequency I hope to take you all to. The energy being siphoned off from you is more valuable. And that's why I can profess to you that I leave men with means. I leave men with means because the energy, the aura, the magnetism, everything about me is more valuable. I started to talk about this in my last video, and I'm going to wrap this up because we're almost at 2 hours. Oh my God. There was a lot of talk about how melanin is so valuable as a, for lack of better terms, mineral, chemical, whatever. Melanin is so valuable that we don't even recognize the worth. Imagine if someone a very long time ago realized the energetic field around inside of a woman. Think about this. Ooh, think about this. If you're a woman and you're able to give life, there is something, if you're a woman and you're able to give life, what if someone long ago, before our ancestors' understood that and to try to siphon that power, they created a ritual in which your power was controlled by the person that they gave your life and being to, your husband. I want you to leave with that. I'm going to wrap this show with that. What if someone somewhere realized that there is a power given by the Creator to you, and the only way to control it is to ritualistically hand it over to a man that they would call your spouse in a ceremony? Usually, if someone else said this, I would be like, whoa, that person is wildly crazy. No. I'm starting to think there's a deeper dive that we need to do, like the origin of marriage. Maybe we'll do that on the next live. I'll try to do some research and we'll talk. Bye, everybody.